English in Focus by John Field. Published by Instant Response Teaching Systems. This recording is copyright and may not be reproduced in whole or in part without the prior permission of the publisher.
Ideas and feelings. 1. Greetings. Introducing yourself.
Hello, David. Hello, Mary. Come in. Give me your coats. Now come and meet some of my guests. You know Peter Fox, don't you?
Yes, in fact, he's my boss. Good evening, Mr. Fox.
Good evening, Mr. White. Now, do you know the Kents?
No, we don't.
This is Betty Kent. Betty, David and Mary White.
How do you do?
How do you do?
And this is John Kent. John, can I introduce David and Mary White?
Nice to meet you.
How do you do?
Now, if you'll excuse me.
Of course.
Do you know Tom well?
Well, actually,
Goodbye, Betty. Goodbye, John. Nice to have met you.
Goodbye. Good night, Mr. Fox.
Good night, Mr. White.
Cheerio, Tom. Thanks for a nice party.
Cheerio, Mary. Cheerio, David. He's friendly. He's polite.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, David.
Cheerio, Tom.
Cheerio, David.
good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Goodbye.
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 Good night, Mr. Green.
Good night.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Nice to have met you.
Nice to have met you.
Hello, Bob. Goodbye, Bob.
Hello, Kay. Goodbye, Kay.
Good evening. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good night.
How do you do? Nice to meet you. Goodbye. Nice to have met you.
Two, attracting attention.
Excuse me? Yes? Have you got the time?
Yes, it's 5 to 10.
5 to 10. I've got 5 minutes. To catch my train. Excuse me? Could you tell me where the station is?
Sorry?
Could you tell me the way to the station?
I'm sorry. I don't know this town.
Excuse me? Could you tell me how to get to the station?
Yes, take the first road on the left. The station's at the end of the road. You can't miss it.
Thank you. Excuse me.
I said to her, "You shouldn't work so hard." I said, "Your husband."
Excuse me.
Yes?
Could I get past, please?
Oh, you want to get by. I'm sorry. Are we blocking the road?
Yes, thank you. Excuse me. I want to catch the London train.
Sorry. Is my luggage in your way? I'll move it.
Thank you. Excuse me? The London train. Where is it?
There. You've missed it.
attracting attention.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
Asking directions.
Could you tell me where the station is? Could you tell me the way to the station? Could you tell me how to get to the station?
I can't hear.
Sorry? Pardon? Excuse me?
Yes?
Have you got the time?
Yes, it's 5 to 10.
5 to 10. I've got 5 minutes to catch my train. Excuse me? Could you tell me where the station is?
Sorry?
Could you tell me the way to the station?
I'm sorry. I don't know this town.
Excuse me? Could you tell me how to get to the station?
Yes, take the first road on the left. The station's at the end of the road. You can't miss it.
Thank you. Excuse me.
I said to her, "You shouldn't work so hard." I said, "Your husband."
Excuse me.
Yes?
Could I get past, please?
Oh, you want to get by. I'm sorry. Are we blocking the road?
Yes, thank you. Excuse me. I want to catch the London train.
Sorry. Is my luggage in your way? I'll move it.
Thank you. Excuse me? The London train. Where is it?
There. You've missed it.
Three. Polite instructions.
Good afternoon. Do come in. I was expecting you.
Thank you.
Do come into this room.
Thank you. I've come.
Do sit down. If you'd sit in that chair. Tea's ready.
Tea? But I've come.
Yes, we'll talk about that later. Do have some tea first. Won't you help yourself to a sandwich?
Thank you.
And some tea. Do you take sugar?
Yes, I do. One, please.
Right. Now, if you'd pass me the sandwiches... Thank you. A cake? Do help yourself.
Thank you very much. I didn't expect this.
Well, I like to make people comfortable. Now, I'm so pleased to meet you. Do tell me about your new play. Perhaps you'd tell me how you wrote it.
Play? I don't write plays.
You don't write plays?
No.
Perhaps you'd explain why you're here.
I'm here to read the gas meter.
Polite instructions.
Do come in. Perhaps you'd come in. If you'd come in, won't you come in?
Do sit down. Perhaps you'd sit down. If you'd sit down, won't you sit down?
Do take a leaflet. Perhaps you'd take a leaflet. If you'd take a leaflet, won't you take a leaflet?
Do look at this letter. Perhaps you'd look at this letter. If you'd look at this letter, won't you look at this letter?
Sit down.
Won't you sit down?
Come in.
Won't you come in?
Take a cake.
Won't you take a cake?
Tell me your name.
Won't you tell me your name?
Show me the letter.
Won't you show me the letter?
Give me the keys.
Won't you give me the keys?
Listen to this.
Won't you listen to this?
Look at this letter.
Won't you look at this letter? Do sit down.
Perhaps you'd sit down.
Do come in.
Perhaps you'd come in.
Do pass the wine.
Perhaps you'd pass the wine.
Do tell me what happened.
Perhaps you'd tell me what happened.
Do open your case.
Perhaps you'd open your case.
Do stop the car.
Perhaps you'd stop the car.
Do write to Mr. Fox.
Perhaps you'd write to Mr. Fox.
Do answer the phone.
Perhaps you'd answer the phone.
Four. Comparing.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the book I was reading. I've lost it.
Here it is.
No, that isn't it. It isn't as big as that.
Here it is. Under this cushion.
No, that isn't it either. That book's the right size. But mine isn't as old as that.
Is this it?
No, that book's too small. Mine's bigger than that.
How about this one on the table?
No. That one's the wrong colour. My book's green.
Here's another book. This is it, isn't it?
No, it isn't. My book's that shape. But it's an expensive book. It's a better book than that one.
Here. What about this?
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Well, I'm pleased I found it for you. Tom, I found your book. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for my glasses. I've lost them.
Comparing.
The books are the same size. The first book is as big as the second.
The cars are different sizes. The first car's smaller than the second. The first car isn't as big as the second.
The men are different ages. The first man's younger than the second. The first man isn't as old as the second.
The women are different heights. The first woman's shorter than the second. The first woman isn't as tall as the second.
The parcels are different weights. The first parcel's lighter than the second. The first parcel isn't as heavy as the second.
The cameras are different prices. The first camera's cheaper than the second. The first camera isn't as expensive as the second. This vase is the right shape. But it's the wrong size. It's the wrong color. That man's the right age, but he's the wrong height.
Where's my book?
Here it is.
Where are my glasses?
Here they are.
Where are the scissors?
Here they are.
Where's my coat?
Here it is.
Where's my hat?
Here it is.
Where are my gloves?
Here they are.
Where's my brother?
Here he is.
Where's my son?
Here he is.
Where are the children?
Here they are.
Where are my friends?
Here they are. Paul's taller than me.
I'm not as tall as Paul.
Paul's older than me.
I'm not as old as Paul.
Paul's heavier than me.
I'm not as heavy as Paul.
Paul's thinner than me.
I'm not as thin as Paul.
Paul's tireder than me.
I'm not as tired as Paul.
Paul's later than me.
I'm not as late as Paul.
5. Appearances.
This is a nice restaurant, isn't it?
Yes, it's the first time. I've been to an Indian restaurant.
Me too.
What shall we order?
How about the set menu? Right. 2 set menus, please. How interesting. What's this?
I don't know. It looks like bread.
It isn't bread. It feels soft.
Yes, and it smells strange. It smells like soap.
Soap? Yes, you're right. It smells as if it's got soap in it. How odd.
It looks as if it's very hot. Shall we try it?
Yes. It tastes strange. It tastes like paper or cloth.
Yes. It doesn't taste very good, does it?
Excuse me, sir. What are you doing?
We're eating our first course. We don't like it much. It tastes as if it was cooked too much.
That isn't your food, sir. That's a warm napkin to clean your hands with.
Appearances.
It looks like a plane. It looks as if it's a plane.
It sounds like a car. It sounds as if it's a car.
It smells like coffee. It smells as if it's coffee.
It tastes like chicken. It tastes as if it's chicken.
It feels like cloth. It feels as if it's cloth.
It smells good.
It smells bad.
It tastes good.
It tastes bad.
It feels soft.
It feels hard.
It looks like bread.
It looks as if it's bread.
It looks like a plane.
It looks as if it's a plane.
It looks like a hat.
It looks as if it's a hat.
It sounds like a bird.
It sounds as if it's a bird.
It sounds like a lorry.
It sounds as if it's a lorry.
It smells like a pipe.
It smells as if it's a pipe.
It smells like coffee.
It smells as if it's coffee.
It feels like paper.
It feels as if it's paper.
It feels like wood.
It feels as if it's wood.
It tastes like lamb.
It tastes as if it's lamb.
It tastes like soap.
It tastes as if it's soap.
Six. Strong feelings.
Good evening, Mrs. Cox.
Good evening. You're...
Mrs. Evans.
Oh, of course.
Are you enjoying the party?
Well, not really. What a noisy party.
Yes, it is a bit noisy.
And the food. Not very good. how small those sandwiches are.
I didn't notice. I'm not hungry.
And the wine. Isn't it bad? Very cheap.
I'm drinking orange juice.
I usually enjoy parties. But this one... The chairs are so uncomfortable. What cheap furniture.
What about the people? Have you met anybody interesting?
The people? Look at them. Aren't they boring? How noisy they are. And what awful clothes.
Well, I don't agree.
I wonder whose party this is. Somebody very boring. Their friends are so awful.
Mrs. Cox, how forgetful you are. This is my party. This is my house. And these are my friends.
Oh, how silly I am. What a nice party.
Strong feelings.
What a noisy party. What a noisy party this is. How noisy this party is. Isn't this party noisy? This party is so noisy.
What boring people. What boring people these are. How boring these people are. Aren't these people boring? These people are so boring.
The party's very boring.
What a boring party.
The man's very tall.
What a tall man.
The car's very fast.
What a fast car.
The film's very good.
What a good film.
The night's very cold.
What a cold night.
The house is very big.
What a big house.
The coffee's very good.
What good coffee.
The wine's very old.
What old wine.
The cases are very heavy.
What heavy cases.
The men are very lazy.
What lazy men. The party's very boring.
How boring the party is.
The room's very cold.
How cold the room is.
This film's very good.
How good this film is.
This music's very loud.
How loud this music is.
This vase is very cheap.
How cheap this vase is.
This car's very fast.
How fast this car is.
The man was very old.
How old the man was.
The man was very angry.
How angry the man was.
The men were very old.
How old the men were. The party's very boring.
Isn't the party boring?
The house is very big.
Isn't the house big?
The coat's very cheap.
Isn't the coat cheap?
The weather's very hot.
Isn't the weather hot?
The film was very interesting.
Wasn't the film interesting?
The train was very late.
Wasn't the train late?
The children were very noisy.
Weren't the children noisy?
Seven. Talking about time.
Where's your husband? He's gone to the shops. He's doing some shopping. When did he go?
About 10 o'clock.
But it's 2:30 now. He's been a long time, hasn't he?
There you are. You're late.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Where have you been? Where's the shopping?
I couldn't remember what to buy.
I gave you a list. I know. You haven't been to the shops. You've been in the library again.
Well,
You've spent 4 hours in the library.
well, no, I haven't. First, I had to walk to the bus stop.
That takes 5 minutes.
Then I was on the bus.
The bus journey lasts 10 minutes.
Well, I had to wait for the bus.
Okay. So it took you half an hour to go to the town. Why didn't you do the shopping?
Well, I went to the shops. I spent 10 minutes looking for some bread.
Some bread. But you didn't buy any.
No, it started raining. So I went into the library to keep dry.
I said so. How long did you stay in the library?
until the rain stopped.
How long did the rain last?
About an hour and a half.
Then why didn't you go to the shops afterwards?
I did. But then I noticed that I'd lost the shopping list. I'd left it in a book.
So what did you do?
I went back to the library to look for it.
Talking about time.
The work took 5 hours. The work took 5 hours to do. It took me 5 hours to do the work.
The book took 4 hours. The book took 4 hours to read. It took me 4 hours to read the book.
I spent 2 hours in the garden. I spent 2 hours digging.
I spent half an hour in the sea. I spent half an hour swimming.
I stayed in the garden for 2 hours.
I stayed in London for 3 days.
The concert lasted from 7 to 9. The concert lasted 2 hours. The match lasted from 3 to 4:30. The match lasted an hour and a half.
Gone, been. Where's he gone?
He's gone to the shops.
Where's he been?
He's been to the shops.
A quarter of an hour. Half an hour. 3/4 of an hour. An hour. An hour and a quarter. An hour and a half. An hour and 3/4. 2 hours. 2 1/4 hours. 2 1/2 hours. 2 3/4 hours. 3 hours. 9:30 to 10. Read.
I spent half an hour reading.
10 to 11. Write.
I spent an hour writing.
12 to 1. Talk.
I spent an hour talking.
4 to 6. Play golf.
I spent 2 hours playing golf.
9 to 9:10. Phone.
I spent 10 minutes phoning.
8 to 8:20. Shop.
I spent 20 minutes shopping. 9:30 to 9:40. Make the coffee.
I took 10 minutes to make the coffee.
9 to 10. Park the car.
I took an hour to park the car.
8 to 9. Mend the watch.
I took an hour to mend the watch.
'Monday, Tuesday, do the work.
I took 2 days to do the work.
'Sunday to Saturday, paint the house.
I took a week to paint the house.
7 to 8, cook the meal.
I took an hour to cook the meal.
11 to 11:30, buy the food.
I took half an hour to buy the food.
Eight. Guessing.
There's something here. I'm sure there is. Can you give me the spade? I found something. Look! Look at this.
What is it?
I don't know. Perhaps it's part of a car.
It can't come from a car. It's too deep.
It looks like a box. It might have money in it.
No, it can't be a box. It's round.
I'll dig deeper. And see what it is. It might be a gun.
What? I can't hear.
I said it might be a gun. An old gun.
A gun? No, it can't be a gun. It's too wide.
You're right. It might be a bomb.
Ron, be careful. No, no, it can't be a bomb. It's too long. Go on digging. Can you see it better now?
Yes, it's very long. It could be an old ship.
A ship? It can't be a ship. We are 20 miles from the sea.
There's something written on it.
What does it say?
It says W-A-T. It could be Latin, I suppose.
Go on digging.
Right. Ted?
Yes?
I know what it is. It must be...
Yes?
It must be a water pipe.
Guessing.
Perhaps it's a bird. It might be a bird. It could be a bird. It looks like a bird.
It can't be a bird. Perhaps it's a fish. It might be a fish. It could be a fish. It looks like a fish.
It can't be a fish. It must be a plane.
Perhaps he works in a restaurant. He might work in a restaurant. He could work in a restaurant.
He can't work in a restaurant. Perhaps he works in a police station. He might work in a police station. He could work in a police station.
He can't work in a police station. He must work at the airport.
Perhaps it's a plane.
It might be a plane.
Perhaps it's a dog.
It might be a dog.
Perhaps it's a car.
It might be a car.
Perhaps it's a cloud.
It might be a cloud.
Perhaps he's a doctor.
He might be a doctor.
Perhaps she's a teacher.
She might be a teacher.
Perhaps they're pilots.
They might be pilots.
Perhaps they live in London.
They might live in London.
Perhaps they work in a bank.
They might work in a bank. I'm sure it isn't a plane.
It can't be a plane.
I'm sure it's a bird.
It must be a bird.
I'm sure it isn't a car.
It can't be a car.
I'm sure it's a lorry.
It must be a lorry.
I'm sure it isn't a ship.
It can't be a ship.
I'm sure it's a cloud.
It must be a cloud.
I'm sure he isn't English.
He can't be English.
I'm sure he's American.
He must be American.
I'm sure they aren't engineers.
They can't be engineers.
I'm sure they're teachers.
They must be teachers.
I'm sure they don't live in London.
They can't live in London.
I'm sure they live in Glasgow.
They must live in Glasgow. Nine. Offering to do things.
Colin, shall I bring you a cup of tea?
No, it's all right, thanks, Mum.
Colin, I'll shut that window, shall I? You'll get cold.
Oh, don't bother.
Colin, let me get you a cushion. You're uncomfortable.
No, I'm all right, thanks. Don't worry.
Colin, shall I turn on the light for you? It's rather dark in here.
No, it's all right, Mum. It doesn't matter.
Colin, do you want to smoke? Would you like me to fetch your pipe?
Mum, I'm trying to read. I'm 40 years old. I'm not a boy. I don't need help.
Colin, you're getting angry. That's bad for you. I'll get you a hot drink. Then you must go and lie down.
I'm going to bed. Mum, I hurt myself. I fell on the stairs.
Oh, Colin, shall I bathe your head for you?
That's nice of you. I'd like that.
And I'll get you a hot drink, shall I?
Yes, please. Thanks a lot.
Offering to do things.
Shall I bring you some tea? I'll bring you some tea, shall I? Let me bring you some tea. Would you like me to bring you some tea? Refusing.
Don't bother, thanks. It doesn't matter, thanks. It's all right, thanks. I'm all right, thanks.
Accepting.
That's nice of you. Yes, I'd like that. Yes, please. Thanks a lot.